Hey guys, in today's video I want to share with you guys some additional tips, tricks, and things you may not know on iOS. Now, new software, iOS 11.1, 11.2, new iPhones, iPhone 8, iPhone 10. There's always new tips, and I think I have a few that I want to share with you guys here that I think you may not know. There's going to be a lot unique to iPhone 10 and some that you may know, but I think you're going to find some really good ones in this video. So let's get to it. Now, there's many ways to power off the iPhone 10, which could get a little confusing, I'm sure. Now, you can hold the side button and volume up or down together for a few seconds, and you get this menu here. But then you also get the emergency SOS and the medical ID, and it brings you directly to the lock screen if you decide not to power off. There's also a software feature built in here under General. Scroll all the way down and set to power off right here, or slide to power off, excuse me. You can set it by clicking the shutdown button, or in iOS 11.2, as I mentioned, you can do volume up, down, and then hold power. And that'll bring you to the slide to power off screen. Let me show you that again. So that's going to be volume up, down, power. And we're at just like that. This next one is also exclusive to 11.2 and above. Now, on older versions of iOS running on this iPhone 7, if I press the power button once, the device will not boot up. I'd have to press and hold in order to get the device to boot up. Now, on 11.2, you can just simply tap it once, and you'll see that it'll start booting up, unlike previous versions of iOS. Here's one that I think is really cool. If you swipe from the bottom up slowly, you go into the app switcher. It takes forever. But if you swipe in an arc shape, just like this, you get to the app switcher in no time. Again, slow version, fast version. Pretty cool. Now, speaking of gestures, there's a lot you can do under accessibilities and assistive touch in order to get access to different menus. So if I enable it and go to custom and set this all the way down to 1, right here I can choose a custom action. I can choose home button, which I have a video on. It allows you to get a home button, a virtual home button on the iPhone 10, as you can see there. If I double tap it, or I can change that to control center. Now, I hate having to reach all the way up there to control center, so now I can just simply tap, one-handed use, have access to any action that I wish with that accessibility feature right there built into assistive touch. So you can go ahead and customize that as you wish, and you also have the option to set one tap, two taps, a longer tap, or press, and then the 3D touch action as well. So if you have 3D touch, you can also invoke a home button action on this accessibility feature, assistive touch. So that's another cool tip and things you can do if you want to have a better experience with one-handed use. Now, one feature I do get a lot of questions about is reachability. Now, reachability, the way you invoke reachability on the iPhone 10, I'll get to that in a few seconds, but this allows you to bring down the screen halfway down so you can interact with it one-handed and have an easier user experience. But with iPhone 10 not having the home button, you can swipe down, but it just feels a little weird. If there's a menu there, it's just hard to get to. So for example, if I'm in settings here and I swipe down, sometimes I find myself just tapping into menus instead of just clicking or swiping down on the function area there. But it is available on the iPhone 10, and you can also swipe down, bring down control center from the right. When you do that from the top portion of the apps, you don't have to go all the way up there, so right here. And you also have the ability to do the same thing with notification center, which is right there as well. And speaking of gestures and swiping, I really wish Apple would let us just swipe on the edge here of the screen to bring down control center, notification center on the right or left, whichever we choose. Wouldn't that be really cool? You see there? You're probably asking yourself, how am I doing that? I'm gonna let you guys figure that one out. Pretty cool, huh? Now, another great useful tip for Safari in iOS 11 on the iPhone 10 or on the iPhone 8 or any other iPhone. You can tap on the status bar, center status bar here, and scroll all the way up to the top of the web page if you're on the bottom of the web page. A lot of people thought because of the notch, this wasn't going to be possible, but if you tap on the notch there, it brings you all the way to the top of the page without having to scroll. Let me show you that again. Boom. Really cool. Now, I also wanted to talk about accessibility features down here, shortcuts for accessibility features. This option is very, very useful. I have it set to 2 for the zoom option and the guided access, and I'll get to those options in a second. On an iPhone with a home button, you triple click the home button and you can activate either one of those two actions or whichever ones you prefer. But on the iPhone 10, it's going to be 3 clicks of the side button. And it's going to ask me if I want to enable either or. Now, if you only have one single thing selected, it's going to enable it or disable it right away after the triple click. So I use this because there's a few options that I like to use under the zoom options here and guided access, which I'll get to in a second. When I enable zoom here, I can go ahead and get a darker filter on my screen. Very, very useful at night. I've shown you how to do this on previous iPhones, but again, on this iPhone, triple click on the side and I can disable it. Now you can enable it just like that, and then bring the menu with 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3, bring the menu up, choose a filter, and choose low light. Now every time you enable it, it's going to give you the low light filter. Again, very useful at night. Now if I go all the way down here and go to accessibility shortcuts and selected, it's going to give me the option to select that. Now guided access is also one of the features I like to use on the new iPhone 10 because it allows me to keep certain things private. So if I go here, let's say to the phone application, so once I launch the phone application, you see that I can go ahead and triple press, and it gives me the option to go to guided access, and guided access will preset all the settings that I already had on guided access. But let me go ahead and reset those and show you how this works. So let me go ahead and enter my passcode to end it and show you how to set the options. So you have the options down here, so click on options, and this section here will allow you to toggle on or off the actions you will allow that person to get access within that application. So if I don't want them to use the sleep wake button, turn it off, volume, turn it off, motion, touch. I mean, I can turn all these off and this person will not have access to any of these functions inside of this application. Now touch I do have to keep on, of course, because for example someone would ask you to use the phone, they'll only have access to use the phone. Now once I set a timer, because I can also set a timer on how long this application will work until the phone will lock itself, I can go ahead and do that. Those are all my options. Click done. Now before I continue, I can also draw on a particular portion of the screen here to keep that person from touching on that particular section of the screen. So I have touch enabled, but certain portions of the display locked down as well, so they can't tap into my contacts or anything like that. Now click resume. Once I click resume, this person will be able to access touch and interact with the phone, but not lock it or tap down here or swipe from the top or anything like that, because I disabled everything. Now this works with inside application. It's very, very useful, and you only have to set it once. So you can triple click, disable it, boom, you're out, enter the passcode and you're out. Or once the timer runs out, you're out of it and no problem. So if someone says, let me borrow your phone, tap in here, 1, 2, 3, guided access, boom, go ahead, use my phone. And now they can't go home, they can't do anything but use that particular portion that you restricted. So I just wanted to update you guys. I know that was a whole lot of guided access at the end of the video, but I thought it's very important to show you guys this feature on the new iPhone 10 and how it works on the new iPhone 10. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video and these tips as well. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's been iDeviceHelp, and I'll see you real soon. Peace.